Hi, I'm Cheryl Bassett, co-founder and CEO of the Imagine Retreat Center and creator of the Unstoppable Family Meeting Toolkit. Today's world seems to be getting more complicated by the minute. As we try to keep up, we're losing something very special. Digital connections are replacing actual connections. Quality is being sacrificed for quantity. Globally and locally, we face many challenges. So how do we start to become a part of the solution? How do we start a ripple that reflects the change we want to see in the world? I believe that change starts at home. It flows from ourselves and our families to our community and out to the world around us. Imagine Conversations is a way for you and your family to have a breakthrough communication. By planting and nourishing the 4 seeds, we can profoundly change how we live, love, learn, and share. In 2011, I submitted my initiative for reconnecting families. It was recognized internationally as one of the top 5 next best brilliant ideas for humanity. Through the 4 seeds, we learned how to agree to disagree with respect, to build bridges, not walls, to own our choices and consequences, and to listen, really listen, and to celebrate ourselves and one another. Seed number 1 is disconnect to connect. Now, I'm not saying that technology is bad. Technology is a tool. It's how we use that tool that matters. To begin, all phones and devices are turned off and placed in this pouch. Look up at the people sitting in front of you. Admire their faces. Whomever is sitting at your table will always be more important than anything on the internet. Seed number 2, don't quack the duck. That simply means that if someone has an idea, you can compliment it, you can build on it, you can ask questions about it, but you cannot immediately shoot it down. Everyone has ideas. Those ideas deserve to be heard, and everyone deserves to feel respected in the process. Does that mean that some ideas might get tossed out? Sure, but no one should feel anxious or insecure about sharing. Creating a safe haven for all ideas allows for creativity to flow and passion to come alive. Seed number 3, live above the mark. This is a big one. When you choose to live above the mark, you take charge of your life, you own your choices, and you believe in your own power to change. When you live below the mark, you pass blame, you justify your decisions with excuses, and you sit in denial. Below the mark is often weighted down in doubt and sometimes even guilt. Being above the mark is realizing every challenge is an opportunity to grow. One of the most powerful and freeing moments is when you realize that we cannot grow through guilt, only through awareness. That awareness is the key to moving forward. The layers of blame that cripple our lives has moved into epic proportions. We become the victims in our own lives. We see it in our government, we see it in our businesses, we see it in our school systems. Have you ever noticed that as soon as a mistake is made, the first and most important question that has to be answered? Who's to blame? Not to learn from them, but to make sure that they pay for it, or to make sure that no one comes back in our direction, because then we would actually have to look at ourselves. As a family, talk about how in the past week you've lived both above and below the mark. Recognize where you need improvement and allow yourself to be vulnerable to advice. Participate by listening to those around you. Think about their challenges and how they apply to you. Remember, sometimes listening is all another person needs. The most powerful example of living above the mark came from my 13-year-old son. I was explaining that when we live below the mark, we give away our power to someone or something, and that only when we step up above the mark and say, this is my life and I own it, can we start to make a change that's meaningful. When I asked David, does this make sense? His response made me realize that he understood it beyond measure. He said, I totally get it. What you're saying is that last night when we lost our baseball game, we all just sat around and blamed the umpire, but we never looked at ourselves. So tomorrow night, we won't play any better as a team than we did last night. Parents, the good news is your kids will get this. And the bad news is your kids will get this, and they will hold you accountable. But this is where open, honest, and authentic conversation happens. You see, you may not wear a superhero cape, and you may sometimes feel invisible, but I promise you, your children are always watching. Seed number 4, celebrate ourselves and others. Most of us spend countless hours worrying about what others think about us, when in reality, they don't think about us at all. Why? Because they're too busy worrying about what other people think of them. One of our favorite quotes we shared as a family is, when you judge someone, you're not defining them, you're defining yourself. Judith Henderson wrote, our greatest strength as a human race is our ability to recognize our differences, and our greatest weakness is our inability to embrace them. The real beauty in this world is that we're all different. The strength of a team comes from bringing together unique talents, skills, and perspectives. So when families seek how to support one another, when companies strive to reach a certain goal, when athletes work in harmony to win, therein lies the beauty. It becomes the collective heartbeat, the awareness that that which makes us different ultimately comes together to make us strong. The real celebration begins when you can live in your truth and embrace who you are and others without judgment or fear. Because here is the truth. Thoughts matter. Words matter. How we treat each other matters. How we listen to and respect one another matters. Owning our choices and doing our part matters. Celebrating ourselves and those around us matters. The 4 seeds are profoundly simple. They serve as a true celebration of life through listening, respect, and responsibility. So let's disconnect to connect. Let's respect everyone's ideas and allow them to come alive. Let's own our lives by living above the mark. And finally, let's celebrate ourselves so that we can ultimately celebrate others. Tonight, have a family meeting. Take the first steps to become an unstoppable family, because together we can plant 4 seeds that can grow in strength and truly unite us to create a world that honors all of us.